so funny because when I first got the call that they said, would you, come and speak and take this honorary degree, I told my mom and dad, who are here today, by the way, and they were like, are you sure? Like, we thought they might call you to take away the one that you got back in the days, but now they're giving you another one? Like, this makes no sense. Anyway, thank you. And by the way, you guys look great with the umbrellas down. Like, congratulations. You guys look absolutely fabulous out there. I'm going to take you on a brief journey, and to me this journey is what you're capable of, and frankly it's what we're all capable of. And this journey starts in a parking lot in South Los Angeles. And I'm sitting in my car, and I'm watching known gang members enter and exit an abandoned warehouse. I've been watching for 20, maybe 30 minutes, and unexpectedly and suddenly, I've been recognized. Several of the gang members begin to approach the car, and I have my gun sitting in my seat, sitting in my lap, and I'm going to need to make one of the biggest decisions I'll ever make in my life. Now, before I tell you how that unfolds, I want to tell you how I got myself in this situation, because it started out innocent enough. I was working with a nonprofit in Watts, and we would paint bedrooms for kids. I always thought that was strange. We'd paint bedrooms, we'd get them a desk and a bed, and I thought that was strange because where I grew up, we would paint playgrounds. In Watts, it's so dangerous the kids don't go outside. So we'd give them a bed and a desk, and they would stay inside all day. Hopefully they'd have a chance to study. And I was given an opportunity. We'd done like 100 bedrooms. I was given the opportunity to do a ride-along with the police at night. We went out for 3 hours, and I saw two profound things happen. I saw 3 people get shot. I saw 1 guy die. None of it was on the news. Secondly, I was speaking with a gang member, and I said, what made you join the gang? And he told me his mom put him in the gang when he was 8 because the gangs offered free daycare and protection while she went to work. These are things that I did not know. I'm well read. I have access to information. These are things I knew nothing about. So I went out and I bought 20 iPhones. And I had no intention of making a movie. I just wanted to see what I could learn. I wanted to follow the curiosity. And I started handing them out to anyone who would take them. Police officers, gang members, priests, prostitutes, kids, parents, anyone who would film. I asked 200 people, and I found 20 people who would actually share their lives with me. Now, everybody said, look, Mike, that's cute, that sounds nice, all those phones are stolen. They're gone. The complete opposite. They turned in 200 hours of the craziest footage you've ever seen. And I watched it all multiple times. So then my next crazy idea came up. I said, let's get everybody in the same room. So I gathered everybody into one room. And you have to imagine now, I have Bloods, Crips. I have a mother whose son was killed by the Bloods. I have a kid shot 7 times by the Crips. I have a homicide detective, her brother and sister murdered. All 20 in the same room. And I said, look, if you will be the film's directors, I will build you the infrastructure so you can make your own film. However, there's going to be one rule. You all need to agree on the final cut. So what would that look like to us? For the next year and a half, they had to watch each other's 200 hours. They had to learn why they became gang members, why they became an abusive officer, why all these things were happening in their community. And I thought, frankly, I'm off the hook. There is no way these people who hate each other will ever agree. And after a year and a half of meetings, of getting in the same room, of hearing each other out, they actually agreed to a film. They came up with a cut of a film. And I was like, wow, we're super screwed now. I don't have anyone to show it to. Never made a film. I don't know what we should do. And they said, we don't care. We'd like to go show it to the gang leaders. I was like, we can do that? So I want you to join me in the car in the parking lot. We're convening the 4 largest gangs in South Central. A group of individuals who'd spent 200 years in prison and would not agree to security for this meeting, meaning we all had guns. And I thought long and hard about driving off. Like, maybe we bit off a little more than we could chew here. Maybe it was time to kind of do the right thing. And then I thought about my parents, my mom and dad. Not the kind of people to drive off. In fact, my mom would probably bake some cupcakes and bring them. She'd kill them with love, you know? My dad, always curious, always trying to get us to do the right thing. And I thought about my K grads, the Jeff Bartletts, the Connie Powes, Kevin Jawahars, the Mike McFalls, legends, people who never back down. Just that day, Mike McFall, who's here today, had called me on the way over. He's like, you know, it sounds like you're going to have a hell of a day today. Just call me when you're done, but I'm super proud of you. Kept me at the table. And finally, Tim Moffitt, who was just kind enough to be here today, was my teacher back in the day. And let me tell you, your teachers have impacted you in ways you do not know. I remember, I would create these wonderful presentations that for sure were like Nobel laureate work. And they would come back with a solid C+ on them. At best a B+ if Tim was feeling generous. And he always used to push us and push me harder. And I hated it, and I didn't like it, and I didn't appreciate it. However, when I left K College, I had a chance to go to Wall Street. They had 8,000 applications, 800 interviews. They hired 100 people. After 2 years, only 3 of us remained in my starting class. 1 kid from Harvard, 1 kid from Stanford, and 1 kid from Kalamazoo College. So I want you guys to appreciate the change in language here, because I wasn't the one who walked into that room. We walked into that room with the gang leaders. We hit the play button on the film. They watch it. They conclude everyone is losing. They asked us to do more screenings. We went to more gang houses, one-on-ones. We did them in churches. We did them in gang houses. We did them anywhere they would meet us. In time, a truce emerged. No violence against women and children. No retaliation. A culture change, not policy, a culture change. Because as they taught me, culture eats policy every day. Now here's the great part. There had been 100 murders in this 2.1 square mile area. It's smaller than here to Western. 100 murders in the 3 years we filmed. In the 12 months following the truce, there were 0 homicides. So why did I tell you this story? Right? You're going to hear things in life. Be curious. Have a bias for action. Execute. Those things are correct. They're required, but they're not sufficient conditions for change. What they don't tell you, and what I learned, was there's going to be a lot of rooms in your life, like the ones that you have a choice to walk into. There's going to be rooms that are going to be filled with people you don't trust, with people you don't like, people you disagree with. These will be rooms that you do not want to walk into. And you do have a choice. You're not required to walk into them. Society will affirm you. They'll tell you that it's totally fine to stay in your safe space, to set boundaries. And that's fine if you want the world that we have. But there is an alternate choice. You can walk into the rooms that nobody else will enter. You can give them a reason to trust you. And you can ask for nothing in return. Because here's what happens when you walk into a room that no one else will enter. Hope wins. Good people win. Humanity wins. And in the case of 50 kids in Watts, their names are being called for roll call. They're not being written on a homicide report. Bernice King called this project the best expression of what her father believed the country could be. Now look, I don't want to disagree with the modern day leader of the civil rights movement, right? It's not a particularly great ground to be on, but I do disagree with her in this regard. I believe the best expression of what the country can be has yet to be seen. But when I look around rooms like this, I believe those days are not far away. So class of 2026, you're soon going to walk across this stage. No longer as a student, but you'll be joining part of a community of great people doing great things. And please always remember that sometimes the greatest thing you can do is just walk into the room. Thank you, good luck, Godspeed.
Thank you very much, Dr. Soenen.